May I come in, sir?
आ जाओ।
Assalamu alaikum.
Feel comfortable? Are you prepared for the interview?
Yes, sir.
Sure?
Yes, sir.
Okay, you introduce yourself to all of us.
I am Mehmood. I belong to Mardan KP. Initially, I studied from my native city, Mardan. Afterwards, I went to Islamic College, Peshawar for my FSc. After that, I did my graduation in LLB from Qatar University, Islamabad. After my graduation, I worked at a private law firm in Islamabad, wherein we largely dealt with the human rights law and family laws. Afterwards, I started preparing for my CSS examinations. This was my first attempt. Personally, I'm interested in sports, usually football and fitness. In my family, we are 4 siblings. I'm the youngest of them all.
Good. Haris, what do you know about Pakistan? Introduce Pakistan to all of us.
Pakistan is a country in the South Asia region of the world. It got independence from the combined subcontinent of India in 1947. Since then, it has had a lot of ups and downs throughout its history. Currently, we are dealing with some of the worst economic crisis in our history. Other than that, Pakistan is a nuclear state, one of the only Islamic nuclear state of the world. We have a population of about 230 million people, the 5th largest in the entire world. And we have a democratic kind of form of government in Pakistan. We have had a history of ups and downs related to the government as well. We have had military interventions, unfortunately, but since the turn of the 21st century, we have been progressing gradually towards a good form of democracy. And we are, inshallah, hoping for the best for Pakistan in terms of democracy as well as economy.
You have been a student of US history.
Right, sir.
How you will compare the Constitution of USA, the first written constitution in the modern history, and the Constitution of Pakistan? What are the similarities?
So, similarities starting from the bicameral legislature. Both of the countries have a bicameral legislature, whereas an upper house known as the Senate and a lower house, where the proportion is based on population in the lower house and a proportionate representation in the upper house of both the countries. Other than this, the US Constitution is a short one, a brief one, as well as a rigid one, whereas the Pakistani Constitution is an extensive one and is easier to amend as compared to the Constitution of the United States of America. There is a presidential system form of government in the United States, whereas in Pakistan there is a parliamentary form of government, democratic parliamentary form of government. Other than this, sir, there are different methods for amending the constitutions, and the articles in US Constitution are only 7, whereas those in Pakistan Constitution are about 280. Other than this, sir, there can be drawn a lot of comparisons, such as the independent 3 organs of states, rule of law, and independent judiciary. These are the comparisons that I can draw from both of the constitutions.
You did your law,
Right, sir.
and then you are working with a private law firm.
Right, sir.
What are the elements of criminal justice system in Pakistan? Main component of criminal justice system.
So the criminal justice system basically is the prosecution department and the police department, which conducts the investigation, and then there comes the judiciary, which is the actually is the interpreter of the law. So these are the major components.
The recent incident in Peshawar, what are your views about that? The blast in police lines mosque.
Sir, it was one of the very tragic incident that happened in the history of Pakistan, I believe, because it was on a very major scale and in the very heartland of the province. So there have been different theories regarding. We haven't reached a conclusion about the happening of the event, who did it, or how it happened. There are different theories that a person clad in police uniform entered the premises and blew himself up. However, in a larger picture, if we see, so after the turn of events in Afghanistan, there have been terrorist infiltrations in Pakistan on a larger scale. And today, actually, there is an Apex committee meeting happening in Peshawar as we are talking right now.
Anybody has claimed a responsibility?
Sir, Tehreek-e-Taliban Pakistan
They have claimed.
Right, sir.
Now you tell me, think what I'm saying. How you will assess about the impact of social media in politics? What are your views?
Sir, social media, some also consider it as a fifth organ. Basically, media is considered by some as a fifth organ of the state, and social media is a major part of media itself. So, if we start back from the Arab Spring in Tunisia, that actually helped shape the politics of globally. If we come to Pakistan, sir, social media is playing a huge role in the political scenario of Pakistan. Mostly, it gives rights to people regarding their representation, because most issues such as if we take the example of the Qasur incident or the motorway incident where unfortunately a woman was raped by some people, these issues could not be highlighted had we not had presence of social media in our country. So social media, on one hand, it gives a right to actually talk about issues that otherwise we would not have had done in such an easy manner. Other than this, as far as the government policies are concerned, sir, the government, such as we had the last Deputy Commissioner of Islamabad, he used social media in a very positive way to get feedback from the people regarding the policies that were made. So it acts both ways. It also acts in a negative way, that false propaganda, false news are being propagated via social media. But on the other hand, it is also being used very usefully to get feedback of the policies of the government as well.
Thank you. Our pleasure.
Welcome to CSPs Academy for CSS PMS preparation. CSS PMS तहरीरी इम्तिहान के तमाम मज़ामीन की ऑनलाइन और ऑन कैंपस तैयारी के साथ साथ सब्जेक्ट सिलेक्शन, असाइनमेंट चेकिंग, क्लास टेस्ट, मॉक एग्जाम, इंडिविजुअल टीचर डिस्कशन और फीडबैक सेशन का इनकाद किया जाएगा। इसके अलावा FPSC की तजवीज़ करदा बुक्स से बने मयारी नोट्स और CSPs पब्लिशर की बेहतरीन बुक्स मुहैया की जाएंगी। Register now at 0316 570 1593.
Yes is your first choice.
All right, sir.
Tell us about the administrative policy of the government.
So, administrative policy of the government in the whole country.
Yes, obviously. Any administrative policy. There are many. Can you tell us about
I'm
some
sorry,
of
sir.
them?
I do not have knowledge about that.
There are a number of cases nowadays, you must be saying, are being registered for sedition against politicians and against journalists. Do you think it is the appropriate way for the government to do?
Sir, in my opinion, if we look at the history of the sedition laws, it was basically a colonial law which was used to repress rebellions and the upsurge of the people. It is enumerated in Article 124 of the Pakistan Penal Code. So, in my opinion, we should have already repealed this law, because it was used by the British colonizers to suppress the people of the subcontinent. So, it is not a very democratic form of law in which the voices of the people are suppressed. In fact, in my opinion, we should give the people their right to speak, as we have enshrined in the Constitution of Pakistan. So, in my opinion, this law should not be used in a democratic country to suppress the people and their right to actually come up and speak up for their rights, especially politicians who are the representatives of the people, and they are being charged with sedition laws. So,
If you target the government institutions,
sir, as far as the right to freedom of speech and freedom of expression is concerned, the Constitution itself has barred and created some limitations on that, such as you cannot speak against morality or against the national security or defense of Pakistan. So we already have a system wherein these conditions, such kind of speeches or allegations can be controlled.
okay. What is the hierarchical structure of police department in a province?
Sir, police department basically has two major categories: the commissioned or the high rank officers and the lower rank officers. So as far as the higher rank officers are concerned, which are the commissioned officers, it starts from the assistant commissioner in the 70s.
Police, I'm talking about the police hierarchy in a province.
I stand corrected, sir. It starts with the ASP or assistant superintendent of police. Then it is elevated to superintendent police, senior superintendent police, and additional assistant inspector general, the deputy inspector general, and inspector general of a province.
Do you know the nomenclature, this hierarchical tree, the name of the designation, they have been changed? in the Police Order 2002. Now, those designations are being used, not the one which you are telling us.
Right, sir. I'll update my knowledge regarding that.
What was the need to have a Police Order 2002?
Sir, actually, a law in itself should be always an evolving law. So, Police Order 2002, in my opinion, it was to cope with the circumstances and with the changing environment in the police structure. So, to update and to come in line with the demands of the environment we are facing.
So, tell us about some of the salient features of Police Order 2002.
Sir, I'm sorry, sir, I cannot actually enumerate those features.
What do you mean by food security?
Sir, food security actually means that food, which is a basic necessity and a basic right of the people, should be provided to all the residents and all the subjects of a country. So, in fact, there is food insecurity, if we talk about these days, that can be attributed to various international as well as national causes in Pakistan and around the world. So, as far as international are concerned, after the COVID pandemic, the supply chains have been disrupted. Similarly, on the heels of that, we had the Russia-Ukraine standoff. And domestically, if we speak, then we have had the devastating floods of 2022. Other than that, we have had extreme weathers, which is a result of the climate change. We have had heat waves in the previous summers. So all these contributed to the shortage and the short production of food in our country, which basically is food security or food insecurity, as we call it.
How do you see the working of the parliament?
Sir, if we speak of the current situation, Parliament, it cannot be actually stated that Parliament is very functional these days, because we do not have a functional opposition, which is a very important tenet of parliamentary democracy and the Parliament itself. Other than this, if we speak theoretically speaking, Parliament is the main organ that actually runs the country or the government policies, wherein the people in government or the treasury benches gives its policies, and those are threadbare debates are carried out by the opposition and the treasury benches and formulate the policies for a state.
And finally, you are a good team player.
Right, sir.
How will you explain this?
Sir, this basically, I've got this attribute from being a sportsman. I've been playing football since my childhood, and football is a game that requires team play. A single person cannot play. Other than this, I've been working at a law firm where I was again part of a big team, and I contributed myself. So in this way, I think it's not possible for a single person to do all the work that a combined team can do, and I've been playing a role as a team player.
Thank you.
Join CSPs, where we believe that your dreams are our mission. So let us be your partners in this transformative journey as we equip you with knowledge, confidence, and resilience required to emerge as CSS toppers. Contact us on our given WhatsApp number 0316-570-1593 or visit our website www.csps.com.pk.
Haris Mehmood,
Right, ma'am.
your third option is Foreign Service of Pakistan.
Right, ma'am.
Could you describe to me hierarchy in an embassy? What is the hierarchical structure of the embassy?
I'm sorry, ma'am, I'm not aware of that.
Okay. Tell me about the latest developments in the Ukraine war.
Ukraine war, ma'am, as we know, has been dragged along for almost an year now. As we have seen, it was regarding the NATO issue. The latest development, as you are asking, is that countries such as the United States of America and Germany are actually providing weapons, which they were hesitant up to now to provide. They're providing combat tanks named as Leopard by the United States of America, and similarly Germany, which was the most hesitant state to actually support through military arms or equipment Ukraine. So this is the most recent development, that the NATO states are actually supplying ammunitions as well as tanks and arms to Ukraine to fight against the Russian invasion.
President Putin made certain statements yesterday. How do you look at it?
I'm sorry, ma'am, I might have overlooked those statements.
Your favorite personalities include Abdul Ghaffar Khan.
Right.
Some consider him a great hero. Others call him Abdul Ghaddar Khan.
Right.
What is your take on that?
And there are always difference of opinion regarding anything or any personality. But as far as my opinion on Abdul Ghaffar Khan is concerned, he was the epitome of non-violence and perseverance. He hailed from a very backward area of Charsadda, wherein there was no education for the people over there, let alone girls or women. So I see him as a proponent of education and non-violence in a situation where most of the people or most of the subjects of the country were taking up arms against the state and were actually rebellious against the state. But Abdul Ghaffar Khan, on the other hand, had a very lenient approach, a very basic approach of giving education to his people and not actually resorting to violence.
And your second favorite personality is Lionel Messi.
Right.
Why is he your favorite?
So basically, I've been myself playing football, and he's a football icon who has won the World Cup of 2022. So why I like him because of his struggle of reaching this limit, this actually epitome of the football. He was diagnosed with growth deficiency hormone in his very young age, and then he overcame those difficulties to reach this level. Other than this, as there were a lot of expectations from him, he was considered as one of the greatest of all time. Still, he failed to achieve his objective of winning a World Cup or any other major international trophy. But he persevered, and his determination actually led him to win the World Cup in his very last moments of his career. So that's determination, sheer determination, and hard work, in my opinion. That's what attracts me to him.
The last World Cup was held, FIFA, in Qatar.
Right.
There was a lot of criticism on it before even the game started. Can you tell us about the criticism, and do you think they were justified?
The criticism that were made, ma'am, were basically about the cost of the World Cup. So before the World Cup that were held usually were rounded about in $20 billion, whereas this one whooped up to $200 billion. So that was the first major criticism. And other than this, the contract which was given to Qatar was in itself a controversy in 2010 when Qatar was awarded the contract of hosting the World Cup. Besides this, it was the first World Cup that was held in a Middle Eastern country. And other than this, the issue of Islamophobia, wherein Qatar is an Islamic state and it sticks to an ideology of Islam, wherein actually it was an issue of the LGBT rights, same-sex marriages, and those rights were Qatar actually said that they will not allow people to express those opinions or those kind of gestures. And that was the major criticism. Other than this, the construction of the stadiums and the hotels, etc., were also a point of controversy because it was alleged that those people, the laborers which were actually employed there, were not given their due rights and their labor rights were violated. So some of them were rightly justified, but because there are human rights violations as far as the labor rights are concerned. But other than this, it was mostly political because it was the first Muslim and Middle Eastern country that was holding such a great international event.
Give your career a boost with CSS PMS preparation from Civil Services Preparatory School. Join CSS PMS for on-campus and online classes. Join us for your bright future. Civil Services Preparatory School, Jeter Markaz, Islamabad. Register now at 0316 570 1593.
You have studied gender studies. What is the difference between matriarchal and patriarchal societies, and which you think is better?
So, matriarchal society basically refers to the woman in power or woman leading the societies, whereas on the other hand, patriarchal is, which is prevalent in the world today, male-dominated society. So, in my opinion, none of these in itself is actually acceptable. There should be a balance because women constitute almost 50% of the population of the world. So, there should be a balance between them. And there should be another term, maybe a neutral kind of hierarchy that should be brought up to rule the society or the world.
Then it would be transgenders?
No transgenders, but equal representation of both, not dominated by one faction of the society.
Thank you, Haris.
Haris, what are the principle of policy in the Constitution of Pakistan?
Principles of policy are actually the recommendations in the Constitution that start from Article 29 up to Article 40 of the Constitution. These are basically the rights that the state is expected to give to the people, subject to the resources. These are not binding by the state, but as after the resources are acquired by the
Tell
state.
me a few.
Such as the equal representation of women, the holding of the local bodies elections, or the protection of family and protection of religious minorities. These are some of the.
When did the Quit India movement start and its implication on the Muslim of subcontinent?
So Quit India movement actually started in 1942 in the Indian subcontinent.
Are you sure?
Right. In 1942, it was started by the Indian National Congress. And it was actually kind of in favor of the Muslims, and it gave a boost to the Muslim demand of taking their homeland. Although the Quit India movement was not for giving a separate homeland to the Muslims, they wanted a unified India. But it, as a byproduct, actually supported the Muslim cause as well.
Why did the Muslim of India oppose the Nehru report?
The Nehru report was actually opposed by Muslims because the basic demand of Muslims was a separate electorate and a separate electorate as well as a separate country, where provincial autonomy as well. So Nehru report was actually about strong center and an equal and proportional representation based on the population of India. So these were the main causes why Muslims actually opposed the Nehru report.
What is the 19th Amendment in the Constitution of USA?
It is the landmark amendment wherein in 1920, it was given in 1920, and it gave the rights of vote to the women of United States of America.
The last question is that what are the functions of electoral college after the election of president in USA Constitution?
After the president is elected, the electoral college.
What are their functions?
Sir, they do not function afterwards. It is disintegrated and selected after 4 years when another president is to be selected.
Selected or elected?
Elected.
Thank you. Thank you.
Chale, let's conclude it. Let's have an informal session. What is your assessment about yourself? What do you think with this interview? Where you will stand in the competition?
I'm not sure, sir, where I'll stand in the real interview, in the actual interview. But I think I need to work on my knowledge base a bit more, especially Pakistan affairs and international affairs.
ये नॉलेज गैप बहुत है यार आपको. देखे ना आपने जो यहाँ लिखा हुआ है, आपको एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव पॉलिसी का नहीं पता किसी का, और वो रिफॉर्म्स का डॉक्टर इशरत ने जो की हैं वो उसका यू डोंट नो. पुलिस रिफॉर्म्स का भी यू आर टोटली ब्लैंक. ये आपकी फर्स्ट 2 चॉइसेस हैं. तो ये जो है ना, इसकी आप चाहे कोशिश देखें जाकर, क्योंकि अगर ये इस तरह से आप इंटरव्यू में गए, इस तरह से आप ऐसी चीज़ों पर आप जवाब नहीं दे सके, तो इट विल नॉट जो है अच्छा इम्प्रेशन आपका नहीं जाएगा. ठीक है, तो कोशिश करें इसको. बाकी कम्युनिकेशन स्किल्स आपकी ठीक हैं, अच्छी हैं, और इसको इम्प्रूव, इसको बिल्ड ऑन करें. अपने नॉलेज गैप को जो है ना, इसको नॉलेज गैप को रिमूव करें, और ताकि ये आपकी जो कम्युनिकेशन स्किल में जो आपको जो एडवांटेज है, वो पूरा एडवांटेज आपको मिल सके. गैप एंड कम्युनिकेशन स्किल्स. तो अगर आप नॉलेज गैप फिलअप कर लेंगे आपकी, यू विल अपीयर मोर कॉन्फिडेंट. ठीक है, तो ये है. बाकी ड्रेस वगैरह, सूट यही पहनेंगे कपड़े?
फाइनल के लिए वो अभी बन के नहीं आया था.
अच्छा, ठीक है.
Haris, you have a very good personality. You're a smart boy. Shall we, because we are here to guide you, so please don't mind when we, as I said, you have a nice personality, but when you wear a dress, please ensure that your socks are not, slipping down. Your legs shouldn't be showing.
Okay. Right.
And your socks color should be coordinated with your dress. So if you're wearing a gray dress, wear gray socks.
Right.
It is good that you have matched your belt with your shoes. Always do that. If you're wearing a dark blue or navy blue suit, then you should have black belt and black shoes laced. And when you wear a shirt, please ensure the cuffs are out. They are not, that your hair of the arm is not showing, but your
Right.
cuff is covering you. So these are little tips to look immaculate. Then the way you enter is absolutely important.
Right.
When you entered, you couldn't open the button. You got stuck. You shouldn't be seen struggling. So please practice. Take up paper, write down the points that you need to say to the panel, because whatever you say, this paper that you have given us is the paper that in final exam they will judge you on. You should have full knowledge. If you have written PSP, if you've written PAS, if you have written FSP, you should know everything about it. You will be asked questions. If you don't, then you're putting yourself in a spot unnecessarily. So when you come, introduction is very important. Stand in front of the mirror, practice. Every word you use, and you're a lawyer, you know that every word has a nuance.
Yes.
And the panel can ask you questions on. So choose your words carefully in your introduction and make it concise. Don't put in information that you don't want the panel to start questioning you on. Right? Favorite personalities, try to choose non-controversial personality. One is all right, because you don't want panel to be asking you too many questions, because you can't have full knowledge of three personalities, their personal lives, their public lives, their career. It's a lot of information to assimilate. So if you limit yourself here and choose a non-controversial character, then it will be easier for you to do the interview. We didn't ask you question on Kafka, we didn't ask you question on other things, but you should have full knowledge of whatever you write and full grip on yourself.
Right.
Once you do that, fill up the knowledge gap, you have a potential of very high marks. Shaukat Saab will be giving you your final marks that we have estimated at this moment,
Right.
but you have potential to go much higher. Thank you.
यार आपको ना कंसेप्चुअल नॉलेज और कंसेप्चुअल चीज़ें पूछें तो वो बड़ी आती हैं आपको, मतलब आप कंसेप्ट्स ठीक हैं, लेकिन जब कोई स्पेसिफिक चीज़ पूछी जाए ना तो वो आपको नहीं आती होती। ख़ासतौर पे पाकिस्तान अफेयर के बहुत ज़्यादा क्वेश्चन पूछते हैं 1857 से 1947 तक। इन तमाम चीज़ों को बहुत अच्छे तरीके से रिवाइज कर लो। सर
देखो, बात ये है कि यू हैव हर्ड एवरीथिंग, so I will not go into repeat नहीं करूँगा. You have got a intelligent personality, ठीक है, communication skill तुम्हारा ठीक है. You lose confidence when you don't have the information, knowledge नहीं है, ठीक है. तो उसमें what I mean, you are not in a state of preparedness. तैयारी करके फिर रहा बंदा, दिन रात तैयारी कर रहा है, वो स्टेट नजर नहीं आई. तो वो आती है उस वक्त जब तुम रीडिंग करो, मैक्सिमम रोज अखबार पढ़ो, पिछले 3 महीने के न्यूज़पेपर लो, कोई गान ले लो न्यूज़, उसको सारा रिव्यू करो. करंट इश्यूज क्या है, इंटरनेशनल इश्यूज क्या है, डोमेस्टिक क्या है, सोशल इश्यूज क्या है. फिर अपनी नोटबुक बनाओ, अगर नहीं बनाई हुई तो एक पेज पे 4 पॉइंट 3 पॉइंट 5 पॉइंट वो नोट करो, ठीक है ना, ताकि जब तुमसे कोई बात कोई करे ना कि कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन ऑफ पाकिस्तान इसके, तो आप बिल्कुल एक ऐसा जवाब हो जो कि समझ आ जाए. अभी भी ठीक है, तुमने कंपैरेटिवली बेटर रिप्लाई किया है, बट स्टिल नीड टू बी फर्दर रिफाइंड. अमेरिकन कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन, पाकिस्तान की कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन की जो ही सिमिलैरिटीज़ हैं, तो थोड़ा सा नॉलेज गैप का इशू है. प्रैक्टिस करो और मेहनत करो. दिस इज़ ए टाइम टू मेक इट. छुट्टी लो, बैठो, किताबें देखो, पढ़ो, पिछले न्यूज़पेपर देखो. 80% तुम्हारा जो इंटरव्यू है इसी पेपर में से होगा जो तुम लिख के दोगे, और 20% अखबारों में से होगा. ठीक है? Any question you have got?
I actually had questions about the dressing.
Very fine, you are a very fine gentleman. जूता शूता पॉलिश करके जाना, हेयर कट करके जाना, लगे कि तैयारी करके आओ. देखो, ये इवेंट होता है, तो इवेंट पे एक तैयारी करके जाते हो तो यू गेट द इम्प्रेशन. तो जो पैनल को सेटिस्फैक्शन होती है, ही इज प्रिपेयर्ड फॉर अस। तो कैजुअल जाओगे तो वो उसी तरह कैजुअल नंबर देंगे, प्रिपेयर होके जाओगे तो बाकी यू आर फाइन। दिस इज जिस तरह बता दिए काफी है।
That's also from my side.
Best of luck.
थैंक यू, बेस्ट ऑफ लक।
Thank you so much.